hey, still. Let's go. I was born to kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich or die trying, want me switch lanes. I'm always getting better, I'ma be on 5th place. On this one, then 4th on the next. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 4th, best. She showing love, give me all the raw energy. Don't stop, go ahead, get it in. Jump, knock, let me in. Huff and puff and blow the house down.
Think about that, Mr. John.
Some big names on that intro, mate.
Yeah, there is a few big names on there. So today, I am very excited to sit down with Mr. John Broadhurst of JC Racing Products. Woo! All the way from the UK, baby. This is the first one we've had with right now. I'm just getting us posted to a bunch of different pages.
Okay.
But John, I'm excited. You and I mean, we've been playing like back and forth tag for years now with your products, but we finally started having some conversation recently and, I feel have built a pretty strong relationship and, what you're doing at JC Racing, I've been bragging on you for years is amazing, man. So I want to see if you don't mind telling a little story about JC Racing, kind of how it started. And I heard a rumor that we might take a little tour around the shop today too. So that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, possibly, mate, if we can fit it in at the end. No,
okay, cool.
Yeah, I suppose I should start saying hello, vintage fans, as I do with all my Facebook posts, and welcome to JCHQ. Yes, mate, it's been quite a journey. It goes back, way back, and started by my dad, obviously, because his name is Colin, so he's the C in JC.
Okay, all right.
So that's where that came from. And yeah, I'll just show you. It all started from that kit. Oh, I can't show you, can I? It's like that. That kit there.
All started there. The Brat?
Yeah, the Brat.
The Brat.
Is a car that my father bought just for me and him to mess about with. And, we crashed it up the curb and that, mate, quite a few times. And him being an engineer, he was actually a trained pattern maker. Very skilled guy. So, yeah, he would often take it to his work, repair it, bring it back. And, yeah, that process repeated quite a few times.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it was, it was good fun. And then, obviously, we'd been down to our local model shop as well, not too far from us, where we are now. And we went in there just to get some more spares, and they happened to just say, if you join the local club, you'll get some discount. So we did join the club, got some discount on spares and stuff. And the racing journey sort of started then. And that would have been around 84, I want to say, something like that. And I think, I was about 10, 11, something like that. And then we just got hooked with it, really. It was just a great hobby, It was just a really good hobby to meet people, back in the early days, it wasn't, went through many phases of racing and then obviously a big social side to it as well. But yeah, back in the early days, it was just you and your pops, just going out and having fun. Yeah, mate, the things you used to get up to with carting 12-volt batteries around and things like that, you could, we'd probably need all day, you know what I mean, to discuss what you had to get up to just to go racing,
Yeah, it was something else, right? Yeah, had to make sure your battery was charged on your real car too.
yeah, absolutely. Converting an old go-kart or something like that, or and just so you could tow it up the field or whatever, just to get to the racetrack and stuff, and go and have some fun. And it was amazing times. And so that journey just carried on racing. I was racing most through the 80s. I was doing stock series racing, 2 and 4 wheel drive. Remember the old RC10? I had the old Cat, PB Mustang, Yokomos, and it was, they were good times. But we went through a phase over here where, it's difficult with match batteries and things like that to actually compete, really. Unless you had the money or whatever,
right, yeah.
And so, and we were just, we were struggling. And then some friends of ours who was into 1/8 happened to be just showed us their 8th car, introduced us to it, and we got hooked really on 1/8. And we ended up ditching the 1/10 and went to 8. And most of my racing life was spent doing 1/8. I did have a period of time where I was doing both in the early days, but I'm fully committed to doing 1/8, and that's where JC started when we were doing the 1/8.
Wow. Okay. So what was the first part? Good morning, Michael, by the way, Mr. Michael Wortel of Team Associated there. What was the first part y'all started making to sell?
I wouldn't say we started. I mean, my dad being an engineer, he started back in the day with IC engines. It was the cooling fins on the heads were always, you take the knocks and they were breaking off. And
right,
my dad started making replacement cooling heads, and then we started labeling it under. We'd put it under our old.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were doing, we were just selling some stuff, sort of trackside,
right.
Doing those type of things. Then manufactured a 1/8 wheel. And that's it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Quite basic. So, the tooling side of it started from in the 1/8 wheel. But and it was great. It was great. But it was, we weren't selling loads back then. 8th was all, it wasn't as big as it was now. It's always been dominated by the 10th. But so I think that went on for a few years, and then in about 92, my dad started. He'd always thought that Schumacher had a dished wheel on their cars, which is a plain dished wheel, as you're probably familiar with, and he always wanted to snazz it up a little bit. Okay. So he thought about doing a spokes wheel, and that is the cut wheel that he did back in the day. So that was the original.
So that's original Schumacher.
Yeah, and he just cut it up, got an idea.
Yeah.
And then it became that, and that's what we still sell today. And
I think you guys were pretty popular for your spoke wheels when you originally started doing vintage. You mainly did spokes, correct?
Yeah. We just thought that was the way to go. Just giving getting some nice designs out there, and just really making the cars look just pretty nice, really. I mean, there's a bit of a stock with the stock. I mean, we had a distributor in the UK called CML Distribution, which is the AE distributors. You may know them. And they had a shop near Birmingham. And I always remember my dad going in there and just with that wheel, And he just walked into the shop, showed them. And they were like, sort of, well, is anybody else in this? And it was like, no, it's like, better come out the back then and see the bosses. And that was
wow. You guys are, I mean, you continue to make. I'm holding a wheel here in my hand. You guys continue to make great things. I mean, you're the ones. I mean, you're the OGs that kind of put out the 2.2 wheel for the 1/4 axle. I think you're still the only one making that. I think you're the only one.
Yeah, that's right.
For the quarter axle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So I'm holding in my hand a wheel that is going on a very, very famous Legends car. You may know who I'm talking about. The ran black front wheels back in the day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got some stuff in. I of course been using your products for a long time. But how the vintage kind of take off for you, John? Because y'all continue to do a little more and keep adding products, which is cool. And I definitely want to talk about the JC10 at some point, but we can get to that here in a minute. But
yeah, sure.
How the vintage? What kind of really made the vintage take off for you? And what is your number one selling item when it comes to vintage?
I mean, just quickly, I mean, we went through phases with RC where we were selling all our products through CML, and it just dried up. We just got hit quite bad with Chinese imports and what have you. And yeah, we were unfortunately not. We just didn't really have the financials to, because we really wanted to get into tires as well.
Right.
We just didn't. We got about halfway through making a tool, and we just sort of ran out of funds and stuff, and so we ended up we were still doing work for other people, injection molding tools, so on and so forth. And because the wheels and that sort of dried up for various reasons, we still had luckily we still had the room, and we kept all our stock of wheels. And they were sat there for a good number of years. And then I just, through friends and that, I kept getting the occasional question about, whether we still had some stock of certain wheels. And, I was we were just drip feeding the odd set out here and there. And then that developed into making, we've got an eBay shop going. And suddenly, once you'd opened it up like that, it just, you could see that, this is quite a community of people, that are wanting to, not necessarily race back then, I suppose. It was more just wanting to, just get their cars out and freshen them up and what have you. And then, and that was just I'd say that was just the catalyst really to sort of start making, just investigating what else was sort of needed, and so on and so forth, because we were predominantly just wheels. That's all we were about, was wheels.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, as time went on, it was, as you see by the website now, there was many other things that people were asking for. So
yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, you have hardware, so you've got, of course, ball studs and different types of ball studs, screws, nuts.
I mean, most of these, a lot of these ideas, it's quite hard to navigate what to make, because you do get a lot of people maybe saying, oh yeah, this is, we need this, we need this, we need this. Sometimes it's difficult to actually work out, how desperate are we for this part or whatever, and is it worth investing in? Because some of this tooling, it's not cheap, and I'm in a fortunate position.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question because you made a lot of tooling. I didn't realize you made ball cups. So
yeah, I mean they were based on the old, similar to the Yokomo style and that.
Yeah.
And they're great. I think for modern, they're probably, I'm speaking the truth. I think for modern racing, they're maybe not quite up to the job, unlike sort of RPM ones and so on and so forth. But they're a good quality part, and if you're making
pretty.
and I think if you're making a good, you just want to do a replica or whatever, brilliant stuff. I mean, that's
heck yeah,
that's what most people have. But as time goes on, and then people start racing these things, you do learn that you've got to start maybe just improving the design of certain bits here and there, because I mean the tracks of today are just, they're so harsh on the cars, and they're traveling at such speeds, aren't they, compared to back in the day, that they really are taking quite a load.
These rod end ball joints. I mean, I guess you could also use these as shock ends as well.
I think they seem to have quite a few uses, like with top links and what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting it got quite a nice array of parts now, really, which has been obviously the more you get, the harder it is to manage, Dirk. But
yes, it is.
So that's pretty stressful at times. That is, there's a lot of balls in the air, but it's great, just always say it in my post, we couldn't do it without the support of our customers. It's me and my dad we love working together, and
yeah,
we're a good team, and I couldn't do it without him, so it's a joy that he can see the journey as well. Even though I'm sort of pushing it, it's great to be where it is, and long may it continue.
I sure hope so, buddy. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about it here in a minute, but you coming over to the race, and I saw a post earlier. I don't think a lot of people realize that you do have a pretty strong partnership with Factory Works and Jeff Marler in the U.S., right?
Yeah. No.
And he is now distributing some of your product in the U.S., correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Currently.
Yeah, sorry, Dirk. I just wanted to say, Jeff's great.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of time for Jeff. Obviously, I've only had communication through as we are and over the phone, and yeah, we had the opportunity just in talking. He became a bit of certainly an AE sort of guru. I thought,
You're right.
he's been
he's the encyclopedia, John,
yeah,
of AE. I mean, he really is.
Even though I've got people over here as well, I just happened to make contact with Jeff through a friend in the UK. And Jeff was always open to any answers, because, I was out of the game, really. I'd obviously got a big interest in manufacturing and stuff, but and it seemed there was so many variations of the RC10 and things like that it was just getting confusing. So yeah, he did straighten me up on a lot of things, which is great. And I'm looking forward to meeting Jeff.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're both coming. He wasn't coming at first, and he decided to come. And yeah, Jeff he's a machine, and he is probably more knowledgeable about vintage as much as anybody I know.
Yeah, I don't think I've got the memory these days to be able to take it all in. What he knows, but
I don't either, man. I when I first started Old School about 10 years ago, it was easy. I could name off, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Now I gotta refer. But the reason we originally started Old School RC was to have a one-stop shop, right? Because there's a page here, a page there, and we wanted to welcome in Tamiya, Kyosho, AE, MRP, Schumacher, any brand. We wanted it to be open to any brand so we could have kind of a one-stop shop, because people, you get a new car, guarantee you by tomorrow, if they haven't already started one, there will be a RC10 four-wheel drive page, right? and it's just, I was trying to keep it all connected, but the more pages you have, the less community you have, in my opinion.
Sure. Yes.
So I was just trying to bring it all together, and we were successful, man. I haven't been overly dedicated to it lately, just because of work and trying to get this race, and I've been on and off, and finally just started the passion is going to be trying to promote vintage racing across the U.S. and the world. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where we've been. Look at here, this guy?
Yeah, I've had a conversation with Mike.
Yeah, Mr. Mike Kirby of K&K Hardware. Amazing guy. He's been a very close friend.
Yeah, I'm looking. Is Mike going to be attending?
Oh yeah, Mike is one of the founding fathers.
Right.
We can talk about that a little bit. The founding fathers of the race are Mike Kirby, myself, Drew Boyd, and Eddie Henley of Hoosier RC, of course. And then we've got the title sponsors, or the title sponsor, J Concepts, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. J Concepts, team associated MIP and Cal RC are platinums. And then, of course, you have stepped up to be a gold level, probably more than that with this car we're going to be able to give away. This partnership that Old School RC has with JC, we're going to be actually donating, or not donating, waffling off my personal JC10 that's going to be driven by Dave McEwen at the race. Fully loaded with 3D electronics, transponder is coming with it, fully loaded. So still trying to figure that out, if we're going to make it just live at the race, only for attendees of the race, or if we're going to do something before. But you and I can figure that piece out.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. Some lucky winner there.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I saw you started making these aluminums. Are the aluminum selling pretty well so far? Or?
Yeah, well, I just had a small batch made in the UK. And it was just, you get, I mean, I ran it past Jeff first, and just said, you all right me making some of these? It was, I just get asked by a few people, they go for the J Concepts version or whatever. And I just thought, what, rather than I'll just do a complete replica of what Jeff had made. And he was fine about it. And yeah, they've been okay. I mean, to be honest, the plastic version is amazing anyway. Like, and I know servos are tough these days, but you just, at least with the plastic, you've got that little bit of slip there, haven't you?
Yeah. Some people prefer aluminum, some people prefer plastic.
Yeah. I've got plastic. Not that means anything. It's in my driving. But yeah, they look good, and I just wanted to do the same sort of anodize for the JC10. Really, that was more about that as well.
So, do you do your own anodizing there in the shop, or do you send everything off?
Yeah, I just send it off locally. Just place about 5 miles from me.
Okay.
So it's it's quite convenient, really.
Okay, good. So Jeff is now you're carrying his parts. Yeah. And now he's carrying some of your parts.
I mean, I'm only carrying mostly the steering. Because basically I mold those parts for Jeff. So we had that relationship there. And then we've and it'd be nice to, I've obviously carried some of the 10-4 parts for Jeff. Which is great, lovely piece of kit that is. And he's got some really nice parts, and that's a conversation that would be nice to have with Jeff at the meet.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with Team Associated the other day, and they were like, we're just with this 4-wheel drive, it opens up a whole lot of. Because they're not going to make any mods or anything for it, right? They're going to have replacement parts, but I can tell you this: almost guarantee you those cars are going to have to be braced from front to back, 100%, or they're not going to hold up.
I did have the pleasure of actually seeing one last week.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I sort of thought that is a exact same thing.
Speaking of legends, John Weston's just commented. Of course, John Weston is the one behind Iconic RC, correct?
Yeah, he's a great guy, John. He's done such a lot for the Iconic, certainly in the UK and Europe, I suppose. He's just great, and
he's a good dude. We used myself, him, and Daniel Rollins, which still miss my buddy Daniel very, very much. We were all pretty close and tight knit, and I think John and I used to talk a lot more, back in the day. But things have just gotten so busy. As you grow, as Iconic RC grows, as Old School RC grows, as we continue to do things to build racing, your time, there's days I'll have 100 to 150 PMs, and trying to keep up with that type of. And I'm sure you're the same. With all the different parts and different things, and it's just it's hard sometimes to maintain the relationships that you want to, and
I don't think an AI bot could answer them as they need to be answered. So I try and do my best to answer them. As like anything these days, everybody wants stuff either quick or answers quick, don't they? And it's tricky at times. But I do.
Man, it's all these. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Tricky. You're saying it's tricky to be able to get back to people and.
Yeah, it's just you you saying just how things time goes, doesn't it? And people PMing you and what have you, and you just you have to wear many caps, Dirk. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
that's what we try, and that's what I've been trying to do with the website lately. Is try and get as much information on the website to be able to get people the answers that they're sort of after, to try and save me from replying, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, you really have. I mean, you really have done a really good job with the website.
Thank you.
I think it's overall easy to use, and you've got things laid out nicely. I don't have many of these dice yet, man. These are pretty freaking cool. This is like vintage right here, baby.
Hey, I love that. It was just something that just sprang to mind the one day, and I just thought, what, this is going to be. See how it goes, and it's been really good. I'll send you some, Dirk.
I need some. Or bring me some in your pocket when you come.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I probably need some to put on some cars. They did you ever have the dice hanging from your car mirror when you was a kid driving around?
Well, I didn't personally, but I remember it very well.
I mean, my dad. I mean, man, it was the fuzzy dice in the wheels, or in the mirror, hanging from the mirror, right?
In the sun visor as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was a thing. That's a big thing for us here in America growing up with those dice.
That was partially the idea. You used to have. I was thinking either that, or you used to have on the gear stick. You used to have an 8-ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I like that idea too.
I was thinking she'll do a sphere type one, but then I didn't know whether it would work quite well.
Yeah.
And then the dice, I was thinking of the dice hanging off, and I thought, let's go with this.
I think an 8-ball would be a little harder to try to grab and pick up around there. I think you've done you've done a good job.
It's always you're always thinking about everything being in fitting with vintage.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool, man. I like it.
Brilliant.
I like it, and you've done a good job because, has there ever been comments come up? Because, you got J Concepts over here that uses initials JC as well. Ever any backlash or heard from any of that at all? Or
no, never had anything from them or, nothing, I mean, I don't even know when they actually started. So I guess they were doing their thing and we were doing ours maybe at the same time, but obviously back then.
So it's a lot different focus, to be honest. I'm looking forward to you meeting Jason at the race. You'll get an opportunity to meet him as well.
It'd be nice, he seems like he's got, from back in the day, a creative mind as well,
my goodness.
Which would be, be nice to have a conversation with him. And
I'm so excited for you to meet some of the OG engineers of the US. You're going to have a chance to meet Curtis, Eustace, Jason. There's going to be so many of, Jay Halsey, of course, and it's going to be, and Joel Johnson, because you don't just do Associated or whatever. You've got pretty much all the brands covered. Sitting in my hands is actually Jay Halsey's car for the race. Wow. And I actually decided to go with he's
trusting you in building that.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I was going to send it off, but I was like, I didn't know if I could do it with my finger first off, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
But this was my original heritage car that started out being my Jay Halsey replica car, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna be running your black wheels on the front. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Got
your that's amazing, that is.
Yeah. So it's gonna be really, really cool to see your car wheeled around, your parts from the very first 2-wheel drive off-road world champion.
That's incredible. That is.
So I just hope the car performs well, or I'm going to be embarrassed.
least you'll have a reason, though, if it falls apart.
Yeah, they, he wanted, of course, we could put him in a B2 or a B3 or whatever, but he wants to run his original heritage car, the original one that is so famous. And
because I presume for some of these legends that are they no longer in RC? Or,
yeah.
And you literally, they've just been leading a normal life.
Yeah, a lot of them been leading
decade or whatever.
A lot of them been leading a normal life. Yeah. I have recently, and I'll post this one too. I'm trying to, after we have a live cast, I'm trying to post them up on the Old School RC YouTube channel now, just so everybody has a one-stop shop to go back and look at them.
Yeah.
I would tell you, if those that are watching, if you have not, take time to go back and, hear from the legends, because we've had the majority of them on here yet. I think there's still a couple more I'm trying to get in.
Yeah.
But I'm also want to make sure that our sponsors, like yourself, have the opportunity to hop on and do a live cast.
Sure.
But we're almost out of time, so I'm probably gonna have a busy week next week. I've also got to get all my cars ready. So they're just sitting here.
Yeah. Likewise, I've got to get
Yeah, you got your JC10 sitting there with you right now, or is it at the?
I've got one here, mate.
Oh my goodness! So, all right, I want to talk about the JC10 real quick, if you don't mind.
No.
I want to talk about kind of your thoughts behind the car. I kind of know after having an opportunity to build one, and kind of where the thoughts came from.
Yeah, I mean, I never set out to build a car.
Right.
I'll probably speak to my dad like back in the 8 years ago, and we go, "Oh, how amazing it would be to have," but it was never a dream. But it was only a dream, but it was never we'd never be reality. And obviously, just as the parts started to progress, we made that transmission case with the help of Jeff.
Another great partnership, right?
Yeah. Jeff was amazing in that, and it was done purely because the Stealth wasn't available. We just couldn't get any bits for it.
There's a lot of talk about that now, because people are like, "Oh, you are changing the cars," but you know what? In order, because it's big. Racing's big over there. Racing's big in Australia.
And the thing was, just with the performance of the motors and the high traction tracks, people were running very well used Stealths, and they just weren't. They were failing, So, and that was partially, I know it was done with Jeff, and it was going to be more for maybe the American, but it seemed like it had a place to be able to allow people to run their cars, and that was first and foremost was all I wanted to do.
Right.
And let them run. There's nothing worse than not finishing your race, and at least they could race and reliably. Was it a performance thing? Nah, it's not a performance enhancer.
No, I don't. There's been a lot of talk about that, like the transmission. People are like, "Well, should you allow it? Should you not allow it?" Because I deal with that all the time, right? Sure. But at the time, we could not get hubs for the Stealths. We could not get internals for the Stealths. We just couldn't get any parts for them. And I think it's brilliant. And, in my opinion, the only real difference in between the transmission is the ratio, right?
Yeah.
So I think it takes you from a 0.26 to a 5.6 or something like that, which, that can be adapted on the outside as well.
Yeah,
sure. So I just don't see them being an advantage, but the parts are a little easier to get, at least for now.
Yeah.
Right. So until they stop making.
And that kind of, that was like just one part of the puzzle, really. You made that, and then I went for the, and we already had Jeff steering. Well, that came along a bit later, and then the arms were a natural progression, because obviously back in the day, the long arm car was, even though it was never, I don't think it was ever explored or raced enough back in the day to really understand it, but
we did. We converted, starting in the early 90s, running truck noses and narrowing the back, RPM to come out with a kit, and they came out with a whole car. Of course, the car was very, very flexible, so it wasn't liked by many people. It was just, it was a pretty toy, but it wasn't a good running toy. So I say,
yeah. With that was, obviously the arms were done. We already had the caster blocks and steering knuckles, and then thought, wow, we might as well do some inner hangers and the bulkhead. Did the rear bulkhead, and all these bits were just coming together one by one, and then suddenly you're just kind of like, wow, we're like nearly 80% here, so let's work on a chassis. And I teamed up with Daniel McDade with
Dragon Punch, yeah.
And thanks to Daniel, we've made the chassis come out incredible, so and then the motor plating that I've made in the UK and stuff. So there's some AE bits on there, obviously, as you know, but overall,
you couldn't have built and designed the car without the AE bits, right?
No, not at all.
So if you think about this, I've already heard of 3 partnerships in this car, right? Which to me is what ours should be about. It should be about partnerships and working together, right? So partnership with Factory Works and Jeff.
Yeah. Partnership
with Dragon Punch, right? Partnership with AE because you're using their bits and stuff on the car.
Sure.
That's incredible.
Just lastly, I have Steve Haskins as well from Penguin.
Yes, I was going to say Steve. Yes.
He supplies me the body and the wing. So thanks, Steve.
Yeah. His car, man, I love, we talked. Of course, I had the honor to build one of the first ones in the US, right?
Yeah.
And thank you. And
You're welcome.
I have handed that car off to what I feel is one of the, it's not given, but David McEwen will be driving this car in the JC Racing Products Rear Motor Revival 2-wheel drive class at the Vintage Class Champions Old School RC Reunion. So it's going to be really cool.
I'm familiar with this guy, Dirk. Is he pretty good?
Oh, he's good, buddy. I mean, he's invited to the Worlds. If that tells you anything. David's good. Him and I saw the tips,
give me some tips and setup.
I'm sending you some setups for local tracks for your car.
Yeah.
So he will get your car dialed as close as possible as his. And
I just want to turn up, put it on the track, and enjoy myself. I don't be chasing a setup unless you're willing to wrench for me, of course.
Yes. We can get somebody wrenching for you if you need to. I might have you wrenching for me.
Of course, yeah.
Because we're gonna have to. You and I are gonna pit together, of course. So I think it's gonna be cool. That kind of leads to it, man. You sent me. I know you've been on the fence. You've been on the fence.
Yeah,
and finally, you told me, Dirk, I'm coming.
Yeah, mate. It's been obviously just being so busy. I'm trying to get a few option parts made to finish the JC10 really. Hopefully by the end of this week I'll have these few parts that I'm making for it ready. So it's kind of like just work's been so busy, and then thinking just it's I haven't traveled on a plane further than like 6 hours, so it's a big deal for me. But I thought it's just a great opportunity that may never come around again.
We are honored to have you. I think you and Jay Halsey told me like the same day or something. It was really close together, and it really made it all come together. And I've told a lot of people, and I do want to do a moment of silence for Dunbar at some point in this live cast, because you're just never promised tomorrow. We've already lost one of our legends, and I don't know, dude. It's been a lot of work from a lot of great people, and I could not have done this myself. Drew could not have done it himself. Mike Kirby couldn't have done it himself. And Eddie and Hoosier couldn't have done it themselves. It takes partnership and collaboration, and I think you really understand that, that you can't do things alone if you're going to be successful. So we're so stoked to have you coming. I know you're nervous as hell, but I'm going to do everything I can to make it as comfortable for you as possible when you get here. I don't know if I'm going to go running with you at 5 a.m. in the morning, though. So don't expect
Yeah, no, I might pack my running shoes, mate. You know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be an amazing experience. And just seeing all, the US, they buy a lot of our products, and it'll be nice to put faces to names and meet the amazing customers and, and get ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Adam Shaver here.
A thing that always goes around in my head is, how long have we got vintage for?
Yeah.
Is it 5 years, 10 years? And hopefully it is 10 years. I know it's like a generation thing. People our age, but it's it's just getting an idea and a feel for how long it is. It is going to continue. I mean, it's on a real high at the moment. So. And it's really good to see. I think, like you said, just RC is just amazing for bringing people together, building friendships. Social side. It's people can learn a lot from it. So.
So Adam Shaver he's one of he's been around forever in vintage community. I'm sure you've seen his name before.
Yes.
I think lots of John's wheels will be tuning at this event. Turning should be turning at this event. Yeah. 3 cars worth for me. You're going to see a lot of your parts here, man.
Yeah, no, it's going to be
cool.
It's going to be incredible. I mean, obviously, I see it at the Iconic over here, which is great. But we're going to be seeing it in another country and on another.
So, and it is on my bucket list, and I'll have to return the favor. You coming here, I'm gonna have to come over to the Iconic and see you and John for sure. So surface over there y'all run on, it's more grass, right? More cut lower grass or grass dirt mixture?
Yeah, a lot of Astro tracks in the UK just because of the weather, really.
Right.
All year round sort of running them. But there have been in the Iconic series anyway, there's only 2 races, 2 weekends. They were both on Astro, but this year we got one on Astro and one actually on grass. So that's going to be good fun. Going to just doing what you did back in the day, just laying some pipe out on a grass field.
Right.
Some pretty simple jumps and stuff, and should be good fun. So but predominantly it's Astro, and then indoors is carpet, or I think there was a couple of tracks where it's like wooden floor,
okay.
So pretty low.
Yeah, the Americans aren't very big on running vintage on carpet. We the way this all started back for me is my buddies Matthew Stevens and Brandon Giles, which you probably remember Brandon Giles' name. He was very, very big in the vintage community. He's now doing some type of matchbox downhill racing or something that's become really big for him.
Right.
But we had started setting up a carpet track inside a big gymnasium every couple of weeks. And we started a vintage series, and it had gotten pretty big. I mean, we were up to 2 to 3 heats of 2-wheel drive and 2 of stadium truck. And I loved it, but it's funny. The vintage community is funny, man, because it's to me, I don't care what surface I'm racing. Just let me race, right?
Yeah.
I'll find the setup. I'll find the tires. I'll do whatever it takes to try to make it work, right?
Let me wheel it round.
Just let me wheel it, man. I don't care. Yes. Do I want to be out there throwing rooster tails and, and like I did back in the day? Yes, I do. And, we'll find the spots to do that. But, to me, it's more about bringing the community together, having some fun, wheeling your cars, not taking it too serious.
No, sure.
And, we don't want to ruin the vintage community by making it overly serious. But you know what? People are competitive, John. So
yeah,
regardless,
we're all competitive deep down, aren't we, Dirk? You know,
right? Yeah.
When we get on that roster, mate, we still want to put in a good
Right.
shift. So,
yeah, we're still gonna
get our elbows out, you know. So it's, you know, hopefully it'll all come back, and it'll be good fun. And yeah, it's like, you know, it's just like that in the UK. You know, it's a really good fun, just a really fun class. You know, yeah, it's just
right. Yeah, it's different. I mean, so the one that we're going to be doing, the big team associated race in Vegas, is going to be set up more like the vintage style. I've been working in the background with Drescher and the AE crew, but we're really, you know, bringing over the rules from the, you know, the revival and the old school masters. So we're kind of bringing some of those rules over for that race to give it a try, because I don't think we've ever done it in the US that way. So it'll be very, very interesting. We're more, you know, stick to like 10 to 12 classes and make things work. But now,
it'd be an interesting experience in that.
Yeah, it's gonna be neat.
Yeah, and
right now I'm just trying to focus on getting through this race, and then we'll start focusing on that one.
Yeah, you deserve a rest after this.
Woo. Yes, I do.
It's been a full-on few months, no doubt.
Yeah. So, how's the JC10 doing?
It's doing very well. I've just, you know, I have to pinch myself really there. I mean, I had 40 chassis done initially. Well, I had 50, but I had 40 numbered and just 10 plain, obviously, for people that want to do their own sort of builds.
Yeah.
And I think I have one left.
Wow. That's incredible, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah. 1 out of the 40, that is, like, you know what I mean? I have 1 out of the 40.
That's very, very good. You got to do another round, you think, or what? Are you done?
I've ordered another 10.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm just going to do, but, you know, I wanted to see what sort of MOQ I could get down to. And yeah, I thought I'd just do it and keep it simple. And I think it's one of those, you know, I mean, I know there's been a little bit of, you know, hearsay with like the price of it and stuff, but yeah, it's got a lot of expensive AE bits on there. You know, it's not cheap to get stuff shipped over from America, and obviously the molds and that. The UK is not the cheapest of places to make stuff, but I think when people see it in their hands, you know, hopefully they can see the quality of it. You know,
dude, I'm gonna tell you, it's the best organized kit. When I say the way the car looks when it's together, it's just like meticulous, right? You've done a good job with the cable hiders on the left-hand side. You know, I mean, look how clean that is.
I know. I mean, it was, I mean, you know, that was just evolved as well. Like the side rails just evolved.
Right.
So I thought I was obviously doing a carbon car, and I thought, you know, I was thinking about protection of the electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
And we used to have, you know, we used to run a Lexan, you know, we'd cut a Lexan and we'd, you know, screw those down the side or stick them on back in the day. And so I just thought, why not make?
Yeah, you did it. You took what we used to do back in the day, either out of metal or whatever the case may be. And it's just a beautiful design. I hope everybody has a chance. And, you know, the people that want to complain about pricing, I get it. People are price conscious, but it's not if you were to build this car, right, it's going to cost you that easily.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking, I've sold nearly 40 units, you know, I'm not in the hundreds and hundreds like some brands.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just unachievable getting those prices, you know. And
everybody thinks you're getting rich, John.
Well, all I do is reinvest it, Dirk, you know.
Yeah.
Might buy myself a new pair of runners now and then.
All right. Okay. All right. So
I wear them out pretty much, mate, running up and down to this place, you know. So
yeah, you know, we were talking, you know, because we become buds and, you know, just chit chatting sometime. And I think you tell me you run to work most days, right? Run or bike?
I'll run. Yeah, if the weather allows. If the weather allows, I'll run to work. It's 5 miles from my house.
You make me feel like a fat American, John.
No, not at all.
I literally live 1.2.
It's been winter, man. I'll put a few pounds on, I tell you.
Yeah. 1.26 miles from work, and I drive every day. I need to start walking.
Yeah. Maybe I could change your ways.
I'm gonna, John. I want to live a little longer, so I think I'm gonna start getting my wife and I talking about it.
I'll be honest, Dirk. I figure out a lot of thoughts and ideas, and solve a lot of problems in that 5 miles. It's surprising.
Yeah, it does help you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The mind.
Yeah, it just clears your mind, and then I get into work and I'm like, right, this is how it is, so it's and the weather's changing, mate. So I mean, the weather over here has not been great. Just coming out of winter and that. So
yes, we are as well. I think there's Adam's talking about. So Adam's been, he's been a vintage builder for many, many years like me, and he understands the cost. And I'm telling you what, man, wait until you see this car go around the track.
I'm looking forward to it.
John, I'm sorry, Dave McEwen's comments were, feels as good as a B5. And we're gonna, there's been some talk, John, about the rules on where this car should land.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they end up putting the car over in? Where does John have the car listed in his race?
89 to 93.
89 to 93. So he put it in kind of with the RPM cars, which makes sense, right? So we got to figure that out. I've currently got, at least mine's running. If somebody brings one, we're probably not going to tell them they can't run it in the 2-wheel drive classic class.
Sure.
But our rules do have some stipulations on there that says the product, the part must have been made during the time, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of different custom parts that people put on cars. I think a lot of people are stuck on the transmission a little bit and thinking it's an advantage, where you got a good running Stealth. This transmission, this car is going to be no better than that Stealth.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think there's other things on the car that are probably more of an advantage than a transmission.
Where's Eddie Henley? Look at Eddie Henley's cowboy up. So I know you've been spending a little time talking to Eddie, right? So you're starting to,
Yeah, I know he's had a lot on his plate lately. Well, all of you obviously been through a rough time with what happened to Brian, and but yeah, he's been able to have some discussion, and obviously thanks to yourself and Jeff as well. He said it'd be great to get some parts over to Eddie. Certainly,
yeah. Eddie has a whole section dedicated to vintage, and I think him stocking your parts would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. He's got an amazing setup, and he sent me some pictures.
Dude, you're gonna be blown away when you come see this facilities. You're gonna be like, holy shit! you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? What are we doing over there?
We could learn a lot. Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. So. It looked great in the pictures, and
well, that's the question, right? And we got tracks going out of business left and right for different reasons. Like we just lost Beach RC; they had their last race this weekend.
Oh, right.
Because a landlord decided to, sometimes these landlords get where they don't want the dirt and stuff in their building, and they'll just raise the price where you can't do it. But I think Eddie he's figured out how to master the dirt, and has a special formula, and he's got really, really good dirt where it doesn't really get dusty in the facilities. And,
right.
It's tough, man, because when you take dirt and particles and you stick it indoors and fill it with 300 to 400 people are going to get sick. Right. So Eddie's kind of figured it, and there's been a lot of time. You got to have proper ventilation. You got to have all the right stuff. Man, when I was traveling, like from these old ass tracks to old ass tracks, and I was doing it like every week.
Yeah,
I got so sick at one of the races, man. Or I walked into one from coming from another one. I got the whole freaking. I think I started COVID, man. You'll get to meet some of the folks there, but man, everybody I came in contact with after that race was like sick. And I was getting messages forever, but you gotta keep the ventilation. You gotta keep all that stuff right. Look at there, Eddie said.
And that's just running 10th cars around. I mean,
yeah, vintage, vintage cars, and
even
no
worse with
gas.
the nitro car then. Even worse.
Yeah.
So.
Now I take that back because I was doing 8 scale and going to nitro races and stuff at the same time, right? So it could have been just a combination, right?
Sure.
First time I walked into a big nitro race, Psycho Nitro Blast. Have you heard about that race?
Yeah.
1,000 entries. We literally raced 24/7 for like 3 days. And I walked in there and it's like you had to cut out to see, right? All the fumes and it was nutso, man. But it was like almost motocross. Track is freaking huge, wall rides, these jumps where you're getting freaking air like 50 foot, 60 foot in the air. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. But when you're doing that every single week, going from place to place to place to place and taking in different things in your body, it sometimes the body is just like, you know what, I need some time. And you're either going to give me some time or I'm going to take some time. So
yeah, I mean, we used to have a race over here. Neo Buggy or DXR used to do it. Big indoor at a agricultural university, that huge building. They used to go in there. It was the only indoor, and it was amazing. But yeah, I always remember the fumes and what have you going in there.
Yeah, it was. Eddie's found the special sauce, and he keeps his place really, really tight and clean. And him and Angie run a really tight facilities, and we're very lucky. When we originally wanted to do this race, we originally we want to get 500, and we knew we could get 500, right? Yeah. But then we kind of cut it off right at 350, 360 because we don't want to be racing first thing in the morning till late at night. We want to be able to race, and then we want to be able to go out and do some stuff with our buddies, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So we got all these cool events planned. You'll be a part of a lot of them, being a sponsor, and then Saturday night, we've got casino night at the casino where we get to go out there and spend some of your money.
I thought you were going to lend me some.
Yeah, I'll give you a few bucks to throw away at the casino if you want. Now, if you make money off my money, you gotta hook me up. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, maybe the dice. Maybe we need to hit the craps table.
Well, you can show us around, Dirk.
Yeah.
I don't mind a flutter,
Yeah.
I'm not a big gambler, but yeah,
I'm not either. I don't even think
it'd be an eye opener anyway, So yeah, we've got to go and experience it.
Yeah, so I know you're actually staying for a few days afterwards. Going to spend some time in Louisville, so we'll work with some people there and make sure you got what you need. And I'm so stoked. I really am.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I mean, you just going back to with the tracks, closing. I mean, we have the ssame problem over here. It's difficult to keep tracks going. It's hard work, and it takes a team of people, doesn't it? Good, die-hard, dedicated people to keep these places going. It's kind of tough, especially when you get so much out of it as well. And we don't get help from councils over here. They don't. We don't get any backing from. It's generally just hard-working people that start all these tracks up and maintain them.
Yeah, I really wish the cities would do more, right? Like when I was growing up, the cities were very involved, and a lot of the tracks were like on city property or city owned, and you had some backing from the city. And I know that I'm gonna once things calm down at work, I'm gonna try to see if I can't get something going with the city of Cookeville. But it's funny. I'll be with my wife, and I'll see an abandoned building that has a lease sign up on it or something. I'll go, you know what, that would make good. He goes, yes, Dirk, an RC track.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Yeah, me and my old man have done that. I mean, we did have a track at one point. That me and my dad. My dad was the driving force behind that, and but yeah, we ended up having to close that because of one neighbour, that noise.
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
it's not noise, it's somebody raising your rent, you know?
Yes. He's won't say anything about that guy, but hey. But no, mate, it's a tough gig. But yeah, I've driven past many buildings thinking, wow, that would make, if you won the lottery, mate, you'd just go and do it. Even at a loss, it's just amazing.
Yeah, somebody's commenting about the JC10. So, we talked about your partnership, but I want to talk a little bit about your molding and all that, because I know you do a lot of stuff right there in the shop, and I know you wanted to do this thing from the shop to give people a little tour. I wanted to see if you wanted to take some time to do that, or if you want to, talk a little bit about how you do molding and all this without giving away all your secrets.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that, mate. It's not no drama.
No drama.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll give you a quick glance in the workshop's
Okay.
really messy.
Oh, I love it, man.
I've been clearing. I've been clearing the main workshops.
Okay.
Got rid of.
So we're doing this with you. We're going to do the same thing with I think MIP sometime next week too. Or we're going to get to see MIP's internal shop.
All right.
So don't make Eustace feel too bad.
A bit more state of the art compared to ours.
Yeah, that's all right, buddy. Got to start somewhere.
I've got to figure out how you turn this thing around.
You figured it out earlier. Had to do it manually, you said.
Well, it's not that, is it? How was it now? Let's see. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
So I'll give you a quick tour anyway, Dirk. So that was my first car. Yeah.
What was that? Oh yeah.
This was my first racing car.
Oh wow. What is that?
It's a Playtron Lynx.
Oh. Is that the one you told me so much about that y'all modified so much? And
oh mate, it was a nightmare. Drive shafts used to fall out of it. That's why the old man painted them yellow.
Oh, Lynx.
I'd love to get it going, but there's a few bits missing of it. I don't even think you can get spares for it these days. But yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, so basically, things would generally start off like this on the 3D printer,
Okay.
American 3D printer.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, generally, just doing a 3D model on the computer, and then we do just run it off on the prototype, just check it all works and fits,
Okay.
Like that. Just getting the profile right for the gear cover, make sure it clears.
Yeah. I know you and I talked a little bit about the gear cover when I built mine. Yeah.
So that things will start off like that, and then this is my workshop, mate.
All right.
It's a lathe, some manual machines.
Okay.
There's a VMC. So yeah, there's a lot of making the tools.
Right.
My bench.
Okay.
And then this is my stores. These are all wheels. These are just stores,
Right. So that's where you do all your picking from for your orders.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, various bits, mate. You'll recognize those.
Oh yeah.
You do a lot of UJs these days. Adapters, various plastic parts.
So once y'all make the prototypes, what happens after that?
So once you've done the prototype, obviously there's a finished part.
Nice.
I'll take you down to a tour.
Oh, you're gonna take me for a tour.
Just so Eddie knows, these are going to Eddie.
So wow. Okay. Eddie's sitting here watching right now.
Yeah, it is ready to go, Eddie. So
look at there, Eddie.
I'm on the ball. So this is what I do. Well, we do the molding. So these are the injection molder machines.
Oh, nice. How hard is it, John, to create an injection mold? I know we talk about it a lot. I mean, it used to be really, really hard to do a mold. Is it?
Yeah, it is. Different? I mean, this is. I've got this one apart, so I'll show you the. This is the truck work. So you can see that. There's the.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that would obviously form that. That's called a fixed half.
Holy cow. Okay.
And then this is the moving half.
Okay.
And you can see, so the back of the wheel, and that would be in there. These parts will come in like so, and they will form the outer diameter of the wheel. And as the tool opens, these slides get pulled back.
Huh.
And then there's ejector pins at the back, which obviously just push the wheel off. I don't know if you can see.
So let me ask you a question. Does it start as a mold and then get shaved down, or does it just come out looking like a wheel?
Well, basically this would have started off as just a plain bit of, just like a plain bar.
Yeah.
And then this would have got, all turned down. These would have been, all these ribs would have been sparked. We call it EDM.
Okay.
So it's called spark erosion. And those would have all been sparked in, all this detail. This is a removable insert in there, so that would have all been turned.
Holy cow, this is really cool. I gotta come see it live sometime, or
maybe
you and I can chit chat, and you can
absolutely
show me a live video, because I'm like very interested. I've always, I grew up in a mechanic shop and all that, and I always, I love it. I love the
that's where a tool would sit in the actual machine. And basically this is this is the fixed pattern, and then this is the moving pattern.
Okay.
And this is clamped, so obviously as it opens, it just opens the mold, and then there's a ram at the back which pushes forward and just ejects the part off.
Holy cow. Wow. Yeah. So
and then,
cool, man.
And then it just goes through the process again. So how
many parts would you say you're producing a day, John?
This is what plastic looks like. This is in granules.
So it comes in like granules, and
yes, it's just in granules. It's just like that.
Holy cow.
And that's basically, it's just fed into this hopper and just goes down there, and there's a series of heating bands along there, and then there's a big screw in there as well. And it's just like a preset amount of plastic for depending on the part, which is just injected in, goes through a cooling cycle, and then ejects a part, and then it repeats. So obviously wheels is our biggest one at the moment, Dirk. I mean,
right, yeah,
we do thousands of them, like thousands of different ones. This is another tool. This is these side rails.
So you have a mold for every one of your products.
Not all of them. I mean, this is a 2 impression. This is our modern wheel, because we do modern wheels as well. So this is a front and a rear together.
Okay.
So not all of them are, I mean, obviously this is a dedicated tool. There's a number of them like that, but then we've got others which they've just got interchangeable inserts, and this is a way for me keeping the cost
right,
just to make it achievable, really. Because the volume is so low on these parts, you just, mate, if somebody said to you, "Oh, could you make that part? How many parts you want?" Or 200, they'd probably laugh at you,
right?
Because of the price that it would be. I mean, something like that over here would be thousands.
Yeah, but you're not really sending a whole lot of stuff out to have it done. You're doing it right there. Right?
Yeah. That is the fortunate and the only way that we can actually do what we're doing, Dirk, to be honest. Because we're designing it. We're designing it from CAD, and then doing all the the whole tool, and then molding it so from start to finish. Otherwise,
who does the majority of the design work?
I do all the CAD work.
Yeah,
I do have certain parts if they've already been. If somebody's already put a design out there, but they're 3D printing it,
right?
I will you know, I will ask them if they would be willing to, just supply me their model or something like that.
Right.
Just buy it off them or something like that, you know. And then I'll just put my, you know, my sort of touch to it, if you like.
Okay.
So, but generally, I do everything here, from designing it, and CADing it, everything like that.
Dude, that is incredible. Thank you for.
So no, it's fine. You know, it's nice to show off what we do, and just so people can see that it, you know, it's all done. It's all done here, like, you know, and hopefully they get appreciation for, which a lot of people do. To be fair, you know, they just appreciate everything that, you know, we do, and which obviously just encourages us to do more and more. You know, obviously it gets harder as more and more people are coming on board, making bits and pieces and
right.
stuff.
And then you got people that are constantly going to be creative, and you know, I know that a pretty big manufacturer over here is getting ready to start releasing one that has an adapter where it can be 1/4 or 3/16, just so you know. So
right.
Which honestly, I don't know why somebody hadn't done it before now, because it seems to make sense. You know, back in the day, they used to have, I'm trying to who did it. I think it was HPI. You know, they had the different things that you could put in, you know, you make it hex, and then you have the adapters that were for 1/4 or 3/16 or whatever the case may be. But dude, well, I'm proud of you, proud of what you've done. And I mean, you have kept the vintage community going for a very long time, dude.
Yeah, you know, I mean, hopefully with all, you know, like you said, what's coming out and things like that. You know, I know there's quite a few people try and run modern wheels on them and things like that. Because I mean, they are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah,
I get it. You know, but hopefully, you know, we built up a real good sort of customer base and that, and you know, they'll continue to support you, like, you know, and you know, as long as everything is going fine here, Dirk, we carry on. You know, we will keep producing. I've got a list of bits that I'd like to make for other brands as well. Once the JC10 is sort of, I've got it as far as, you know, I can take it for a while. Then we'll head on to other things and see where that journey takes us.
Yeah, I sure hope vintage doesn't end anytime soon, buddy. But you have done a fantastic job, and that's one thing about the vintage community, is that they will support the people that have helped them through. You know what I mean? And you know, it's been a weird couple years, man, for sure. And I haven't seen the momentum that vintage has more than what I'm seeing now. If you see, you know, it's crazy because you don't see people posting kits, B7s, or, you know, new modern cars that they're building. You know, this this RC10 4-wheel drive is posted all over the freaking internet right now. And it may just be who I'm friends with, but man, it's everywhere, right?
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's all over the place. And you know,
but it's nice to see all these like custom builds and things like that. Even one, you know, there's quite a lot goes on in Europe and that, with all the, and it's just nice to see people getting creative with it, like, you know, not even necessarily to race or anything like that. It's just it's just good. It's just a good community for all of that, you know. And who knows what this 4-wheel drive will what will come from that. I'm sure there'll be people out there having a few.
I think there's going to be some cool stuff. Hopefully. I know Jeff, you know, he pretty much already has all the stuff kind of done for it anyway. So be real easy for him. What Adam say here?
Definitely, like, you know, it's a real good kit as well. From when you put them side by side, the 10.4 is definitely a nice bit of kit.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I know that me and AE talked about that for a while the other day, and I know that Jeff's had some conversations with AE also. It is what it is. They put out a car that probably should have been put out how many ever years ago. But yeah, I think there's people that think there maybe should have been a little more creativity, and but it is what it is. But it does open up for carbon fiber shock towers, and it's definitely going to need to be stiffener kits. I think you could put a stiffener kit in there.
Yeah, I'm sure Jeff will be busy.
Yeah. I'm sure you have some wheels that fit that kit, right?
Yeah. But I'll certainly look at turning some around if not. And
I know it's
I look at it and I've got ideas that I'd like to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, I know the stock B6 4 wheels fit it, so there's already stuff out there that kind of does. I can't remember if they did a hex on the back too. I can't remember if they did a pin on the back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where it's going to fit in with. I know in Iconics it's not legal in our events.
We got to figure that out because it's not currently in mine either. I know that Associated has put it in with the later Legend kits at their race. Or I say our race. I am helping with them with that. They asked me where I thought it would fit, and that's kind of when I found out about the car.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what the blah blah
beep.
Yeah. So
that'll be an interesting one. I'm sure it'll fit in somewhere. There's that many out there.
I mean, is it really going to be any better than?
Even if it had its own clash, I think people are just kind of excited to just go.
I agree. They want to race the damn things.
Not handle like a bag of rubbish, like, you know what I mean? But
yeah. Somebody made a really great comment on the page earlier about that car, and how it really is designed around vintage, right? It's no different than, in all honesty, different than a 410, or I'm sorry, a 10-4. It is different than a 410, but to me, it's not any real different than, if you're allowing the 10 4.1 or the 10 4.2. Why couldn't you allow this car? Because that's pretty much what it's designed around, right?
Sure.
So what makes it different? Could you build the car with kits that are out there, and is it similar enough to those kits to allow it? I think it is, right? So it's just a matter of where you put it,
Watch this space, I think.
Yeah. That will be a conversation for years now. I'm sure.
Well, yeah. We'll see when they all start landing in the UK in the next few days, hopefully, maybe.
I'm sure Drescher. I'm sure he's got one around there somewhere that you can go see.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go and, give him a call.
Yeah.
But so it's all good, all exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Re-releases and so on and so forth. It's
mine should be here any day.
Keeps my day busy, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, as long as this stuff's coming back out, man, it's going to keep you busy, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to need tires and wheels and parts and
absolutely.
The 3/16 the 3/16 universals or CVDs got to be hot right now for you.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like the original one, but obviously I did beef them up. Just for the modern motors and that, they've been really good. And
so I was thinking, man, I thought I saw you with some JC gear on there.
Oh, this. Yeah.
That's pretty hot shirt.
This is my new design top.
You gonna have some shirts and goodies soon?
Yeah. We've got actually hopefully seeing some other samples. Just been decided on the actual garment and whether to go down which print type to go for. So just wanted to get that right, and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll start advertising some of that. It'll just be I wore it at a Model Sport 50th event in the UK a few weeks ago, and it was a good response to it. So
good.
Yeah, it's just nice to.
It's a great looking shirt.
Thank you.
I was gonna see if I could pull. We've actually got some. I'm working on new old school RC gear right now as well, and let me see if I can get it to come up real quick. My email. So I've been wanting to do because the ridge.
We'll do a t-shirt exchange then.
Yes, we should. We getting ready to open up the store again next week on Tuesday on Old School RC. There's Musk. Get him off there before people start yelling at me.
Not getting political.
But I've been trying to come up with. I've been wanting to do this hat.
Okay.
Forever. So I think what we're going to do here, I've been wanting to do the patch like this that looks like the original logo. And then I think for these brown ones, I think I want to go with like a camouflage hat, kind of a camouflage. I think the brown would go good with that. But this is a few different designs we're looking at right now. Of course, the patch would move up a little bit on the hats. They've kind of got them a little funky.
You like the flat.
I'm a flat bill kind of guy, man.
Yeah.
I occasionally.
I like a trucker, curvy one.
Because this is one of the original. This is the original old school RC. Well, I say original. This isn't the original. It's got the back netting and.
Oh, that's smart.
But I got this one kind of flipped up to look like a flat bill now. But it's supposed to be a curved.
That's what I like.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. So, I mean, we will make sure you have a hat and stuff when you come over here. I promise. You let me know which one you want.
Yeah.
This is one of the.
I'll try and arrange one as well.
This is one of the originals. Because we had two different logos. This is the one with the skull that just says OSRC. Right, yeah. Awesome. A lot of people said it looked like the devil. And then when I put it on, I said it really looks like the devil. So I was like, maybe that's not the best. So there's been some variations, right? You try to figure out who your brand is and what you are over the time.
Yeah, it's difficult, trying to going through these designs and whatever.
We'll have the 3/4 zips again, of course, and I'm trying to see if I can't get them in some different colors.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. I've been working on it lately as well because it's time. Let me see here. So we're gonna kind of keep it simple since it's almost the end of winter, but we're gonna do a regular shirt, and I'm gonna do a moisture wickering shirt this time as well.
Oh yeah.
And then, when you talk.
That's nice.
Yeah, you're gonna need a hoodie. So I use a company called Octane Inc. Because I kind of like the way they do things. As being able to open up a store, they'll open it up for like a week, and then they'll take orders as long as we get certain minimums.
Okay. Yeah.
If we don't reach certain minimums, then I'm responsible for buying the rest that they have left over or whatever. But it's But it's not. Typically we do. I'm just going to keep it simple and do some more hats, and then there'll of course be the 3/4 zip that wasn't on there. But yeah.
Yeah, the company I use is like that.
So what?
The company I use called TKR in the UK.
Yeah, they do similar.
They do similar, yeah.
You don't have to buy a whole bunch. You can open up a store or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to make money. The first round.
Likewise, it's just people want it, and it's just free advertising, really, isn't it? But it was just trying to make it look nice and in fitting with us, what we're doing. So,
old Jake. Yeah. See if there's any questions. You got anything else you want to talk about? We're right at an hour and a half, and
no, I don't think so, Dirk. I think we covered pretty much everything. Surprising where the time goes.
Yes, it went quick, didn't it?
yeah, hopefully it's given your viewers insight into my daily life, yeah, thank everybody for all the support they've given us up to now. It's been amazing, and long may that continue.
I sure hope so, buddy.
Yeah, before to the journey to your neck of the woods. And
oh my goodness, I know you gotta be nervous as hell, and I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
I am. Just let me know if you need anything at all, and just know that you got a huge support mechanism here around you when you're here, and we're gonna make sure your experience is absolutely
amazing.
Good
tea over there, Dirk. I like it.
Say what?
Do you make good tea?
Tea, sweet tea, baby. We make good sweet tea over here.
I like a good cup of tea, mate. So
yeah. There's places that do tea. Yeah. It's when you say tea to me, I'm like a sweet tea with some lemon. That's my kind of tea. But yeah, there's good tea. I mean, even our little Starbucks will make you a nice tea drink.
I'm more tea than coffee, but
Yeah. I don't drink coffee either. I've got a bad habit recently where I drink a couple sugar-free Red Bulls a day, but if I get out and exercise and build up some adrenaline, I probably wouldn't need that. So that's on my agenda, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna get as healthy as John. We're gonna have a.
We'll go for a little jog out, mate.
Yeah, maybe. Let's do it. How tall are you, John?
About 5'11".
5'11". So you got a couple inches on me. So. But you're probably lighter than me, so I may have to do a challenge to see if I can get down past where John is. We'll have an old school RC biggest loser contest.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I look forward to it. It'll be good fun.
All right, buddy. I would like to, right before we leave off, maybe, do you mind if we do a moment of silence for Brian and his family real quick?
No, not at all.
All right, my man. We're going to start that in maybe 15 seconds.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. This was a great live cast, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening and a good week next week.
Likewise to you, mate. And,
all right, I got to get busy and finish building Jay's car. He's not gonna have anything to drive at the race, so.
At least he'll have some wheels on it.
Yes, he will have some wheels. All right, buddy.
Yes, mate. We'll be in touch. All right.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thank you, everyone.
I enjoy this video.
You take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Farmer Isman, two-wheel drive, world champion from the United States, Joel Johnson. What car are you using to win the final today? And a Kia Ultimate.
Our world champion.
Our world championship, Matt Francis. Greg Hodap in the middle.
We have Brian Dunbar.